Eremos is more than a name. It's a way of life. It's our sanctuary, our escape from the noise, and our connection to the deeper meaning of our lives. It's about finding joy in the outdoors, seeking growth, and leaving the world a better place than we found it. Welcome to Elevate and Explore, a podcast where we dive into the beauty of nature, self-discovery, and the endless possibilities that come with living intentionally. Welcome to our journey.
I should totally operate that way. And I had said to him just briefly that I'm not trying to solve a future problem or solve a problem that doesn't exist. I'm just trying to manage the resources I have now and know that in the future, something will go wrong. Everything's great today, but in a week, 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 years, something is going to shift, and I want to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And he thought that was, a really great way to put that. And he really thinks that he's going to start operating that way and kind of look for the potential issue rather than waiting for the issue to happen and then solve it when it does.
So, well, I mean, what you initially said, it kind of goes with that, the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. But yeah, being proactive, not necessarily, so you're saying not tackling it to completely change it right away, but be proactive to look for ways it could go south eventually.
And be ready for when it does.
Yeah.
You remember going out west and you'd pull up next to my truck and I'd have everything except a 22-foot extension ladder and a kitchen sink on my truck.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have just as much stuff. And it's like, why do we have all this stuff? It's like,
in case you need it.
In case you need it. But if we don't have it, we don't need it. And, bringing all the right tools for the job, you don't know what you're going to encounter along the way. But if it does, you got it. You're okay. And, that's, as I start to think about, where we come from, where I've come from, I used to be a lot more reactive to things. And, the world's falling today because of XYZ. Instead, it's like, I knew it was good. I knew today, yesterday was great. Today might not be as great, but that's okay. We're ready for it. And that perspective shift, we talk a lot about it, is really the balance of life. You don't need work-life balance. You need positivity and negative balance, that it's going to be really good or it's going to be really bad, but I'm going to be right there in the middle, still cruising where I need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That preparedness thing, though, being proactive, sometimes it gets me in trouble because then I overthink and overanalyze and try and make things too perfect, trying to be too over prepared. So it is kind of like a double-edged sword sometimes, where you want to just go with something, but you also want to be prepared, but then you tend to over prepare and not hesitate, but it takes you a lot longer to get going than if you just kind of went with it.
So I do want to be abbreviative and say that this is going to be a short discussion, but in the discussion, we're talking about overthinking and preparedness. And I think a lot of it comes down to expectation. If I'm expecting something to go wrong, I'm going to be prepared. But if I'm expecting everything to be sunshine and roses, then I'm going to be very upset when it does go wrong. The other thing is, you mentioned perfection. So overthinking it and trying to make it perfect before making a move. And it's, paralysis by analysis. You think about it so much, you just don't do anything. And I said today, I made a comparison, and it was a really good comparison. So I'm really excited to share it with you. So in the expectation of perfection, for example, I've spent 2 years building a software that I have not talked about hardly. I've talked about it, but to select people, I haven't told the world about it. I sought counsel where necessary. I showed it to the people that would make an impact. I showed it to the people who needed it and were excited about it and looking forward to it. I took 2 years to make sure that what I was doing was correct, accurate, exactly what was needed. And I didn't try and like sell you something that you didn't want or need, or otherwise when you received it, you'd be surprised. So today I'm going to sell you a car. The expectation that I understand is you need a car.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to sell you a top of the line car. It's going to be great priced. It's going to be good on gas. It's going to get you from point A to point B, and it's going to be the nicest car you have. Your expectation is starting to spin, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sell you a reliable car. The maintenance of the car is, relatively affordable, or otherwise not necessarily. There's not too much to maintain. You just need to take care of it. I'm going to sell you a car that when you push the gas pedal, it's going to go forward, and you push the brake, it's going to stop. Now, let's talk about some more expectation. I'm going to sell you one of the fastest cars out there. It's going to be really affordable. It's going to be super sharp. It's going to attract attention. Now, with everything I just asked, what kind of car do you think I'd try and sell you?
The first one?
Well, the first one was going to be really reliable. It was honest. I wasn't trying to fluff it up. And the second car that I'm trying to sell you, I just talked a bunch of crap and it just made it a pipe dream, right?
Reliable sedan, maybe a small SUV, and a sports car, thinking like a Corvette or something.
All right. So that was the exact description I gave today. I'm either going to sell you a Kia Soul or I'm going to sell you a Z28 Corvette or Camaro. Whichever one of the two, like it's the expectation that gets you there, that when you receive it, you're going to be surprised if it's wrong. If I told you I was going to sell you the fastest car and it was going to be sharp and attract attention, the Kia Soul attracts attention, but is it going to be the attention you want? Is it going to be the attention you were thinking of?
No. Interesting. I like it.
But expectations is
Yes.
checking them along the way.
And sometimes expectations can get us in trouble too. If we
This is
over
true.
expect something and start to get all sorts of ideas in our mind, and then when it comes to fruition, it doesn't meet our expectations. So I've learned to I still like to have high expectations of myself and the things that I'm doing, but I try to be a little more realistic than I used to be. I'm still shooting for the moon, still shooting for the stars, but being a little more realistic, I guess, on a time perspective, and that it's not always going to be exactly what I'm initially imagining now. So getting a little realistic with expectations has been helpful for me.
Realistic and honest.
Yes, exactly. Honest.
All right, so let's do another one of these scenarios. The expectation is that you're going to go out and you're going to perform for somebody. I don't know. Maybe you're into dancing or juggling or some sort of stage act. Are you expecting that everybody's going to clap and applaud you and scream and hoorah, or are you expecting that they're just going to be kind of, oh, well, nice try?
I'm expecting clapping and hoorah and heck yes.
So if that's your expectation and they just barely clap and applaud you and give you a pat on the back, how does it make you feel, and how do you use that to alter your expectation next time?
Well, that's a good question, because in the past I would have said I would be bummed that nobody clapped for me, but I would still be happy because I went out there and if I know I did my best and nobody is appreciating it, yeah, I'm still going to be a little bummed that I'm not getting the applause I was expecting, sure, but not going to be disappointed in myself per se, unless
Yeah.
I know I didn't give it my all. So I guess it becomes more of exceptions of yourself as opposed to outside sources.
One of the ones I've struggled with is like you always, go out of your way to do something for somebody and you go
Yeah.
above and beyond and you polish it and hand deliver it with a bow, and there's nothing given back to you. And for a while that would be upsetting to me, and it would put me in this nervous state of mind of, I tried my best and they didn't receive it, and I must be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is most people aren't really impressed. Like they're impressed by the smallest of things, and even when somebody does something, above and beyond, they still see it as something small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doing things for other people, and I used to let myself down a lot. Trying to do things for other people, but I think I was just putting too much hope in what other people's reactions would be. So, I mean, that kind of comes back to just being realistic. And I don't know. This is an interesting subject.
It is, and it's a lot of confusion and back and forth and if then statements, but it's just something to get you thinking that, I think of, the one time I probably went above and beyond for somebody, and just favors, right? You go out and help somebody. You don't ask for money, you don't ask for anything, and you're expecting this big grand response that what you did for somebody was life-changing. And the expectation that you should have going into it is not that you're going to be rewarded or commended for what you did, but rather you're going to feel good about yourself and that
Mm-hmm.
you did the right thing. It's not that you're going to get anything out of it. You're never going to get anything out of it. We think of relationships. Well, I did so and so for somebody and I never got appreciated, or I did this for somebody and I never got what I wanted in return. That's the sore subject. It's
Yes.
what is the expectation you set to yourself? Is if you're doing something for somebody, it's not because of a reward, it's just because you enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the expectation you have going into it. So whether they commend you or not, it's indifferent. You're just doing a good gesture.
Yeah. Well, I used to always set myself up for failure because in the past, say a year ago, 2 years ago, most of my life, I was always doing something for others in hopes of, to get something in return. Whereas now I just do things for those people,
Mm-hmm.
for their benefit. If I get something, great. If I don't get anything, great. I'm just happy to be of service now, whereas I used to kind of use as almost as a manipulation tactic to whether get somebody's approval or get some sort of deal or this or that. So always doing things for the wrong reason.
Well, there's lots that can be said about it. If it's kind of a sacrificial, or it's just uh, just a good deed, doing a good deed. You don't need to be rewarded for it. You can do good things without ever receiving anything. And that's the part that a lot of people miss. And I know I've missed that a long time is, I'm
Hmm.
always going to do something because I can get something out of it. And it's a very sour way of thinking because, just go do something because it's fruitful for everybody around you. And at some point, if you do enough of it, it'll always come back to you.
Certainly, it's the that comes back. The energy you put out into the universe, it comes back around to you. Put out good,
Mhm.
you'll get good back in return.
So to piggyback what we started with is if my energy is thinking about something's going to go wrong, and my expectation is that I'm planning for it to go wrong, if I plan for the worst, when it actually does happen, it's not that bad. Well, then I made out like a bandit.
But I wonder if also, if you're just constantly thinking of the worst always happening, is preparing for the worst, does that make the worst more likely to happen because you're putting more energy into worst case scenario?
I think it's that equal balance of not everything is going to be great.
Hmm.
When they're great, I'm going to appreciate them, and when they're bad, I'm going to appreciate them because nothing is, you can have a lot of positivity and glow and, upbeat type approach, but when stuff does happen, it's almost like you're covering it up. You're trying to put a facade over top of it. And I think that's where the honesty ties back into it of today is good. Was it the best? No. Was it the worst? Absolutely not. It was good.
Mhm.
When it's bad, it can get pretty dark. It can get pretty hairy. I really don't have, now that, I've kind of changed gears the past couple years, I really don't think anything bad has really happened. There was a time I lost my grandfather, I lost my dog, I did some bad decisions all in a very short period of time because I kept looking at it as this is the worst, this is the worst, this is the worst. And then it kept getting worse. Now saying, well, that was bad, but it's not as bad as it could have been. And I'm grateful for that. And this is a really good day. The more I acknowledge those, the less time things are really bad, if that makes
Yes.
sense. It seems like it's a confusing statement, but
Shifting your perspective of good versus bad, and putting more thought into the good as opposed to dwelling on the bad. Um, I think that's one of the big things of depression. Maybe not, but people get so latched on to all these horrible things that are constantly happening, and just that's all they dwell on. And when you tend to dwell on nothing but negative stuff unfortunately tends to continue to happen more. Versus
yeah.
think of positive stuff. If you're positive, of course, bad things can still happen no matter how positive you are, but it's more likely that better things are going to happen if you keep with that positive mindset. See the light at the end of the tunnel, see the good side of the bad things as opposed to just the bad.
I concur. Life's a funny place, but
It's a really neat place. I I laugh and chuckle about every day. Like, I was just reading I have this board on my that I wrote at an event a couple months, like or back in March. That I wrote, a year from now, blah blah blah, and then broke it apart to break through any limiting beliefs I had at the time. And I read it the other day, and there's like 4 core things on there, and I'm almost at achieving or exceeding 3 of those 4 things on that board in what, 9 months?
mm-hmm.
It's like, crap. I didn't even like all these things I've been working towards are actually happening, and I've got to keep reminding myself. And then reading through my journal, all these things I wanted, a year ago, and it's happening. It's in the process of happening. Life is freaking cool.
Well, 1 year ago, well, let's start over. 2 years ago today, I was driving to come see you. We were going to go and we weren't going to Colorado. We were going to go to the hunting cabin and we were going out to
Yes.
deer hunt. And this is 2 years ago today. I met Katie at the
Okay.
beginning of October. A year ago, we moved into this house. And what feels like it's about 8, 9 months ago, we didn't have grass. We didn't have 50 some birds around the yard. And it's like all of these things that we wrote down and think about and talk about, and time flies.
Oh
But
my goodness.
it is a staple of if you ask for something and you keep working towards it, it will come.
Yeah.
And to be optimistic. I mean, we just talked earlier about preparing for the worst. Also prepare for the best. Just forecast ahead, I guess, is
Hmm.
where my golden nugget would come from in that conversation. Is like, don't just prepare for the worst, prepare for the best. What if the best happens? Act as if the best is already happening. And I think that is kind of the golden rule there, that you
Yeah.
don't always have to think of it as good and bad, or just
Ab-
prepare yourself.
Absolutely. An excellent topic of that is, me going into this van life, leaving my family business, going all in on myself, living off of savings and whatnot, and having this van built and going and travel the country for the year. I thought about all these bad things that could happen, and try exactly what you said. I have a backup plan that if, God forbid the worst happens, I'll still be all right. But I forgot to realize, like, what if it all works out and it works out even better than I ever imagined? Why aren't I thinking about that? So now that I had all, after I went through all the negatives and all the possible pitfalls that could happen along the way, now I'm just focused on, well, what if this does work? And it's absolutely amazing. So that's what I'm going for now is I have the bad covered, but let's go that it's going to be the best.
Yeah, that's a piece, especially with, you get into all these different projects and you put all this hard work in and you start thinking, and then there's the self-doubt, and then there's the imposter syndrome. And it happens. I mean, that's part of doing it, and it's fighting through that to say it's gonna work out. And sometimes I acknowledge I am a very stubborn and hardworking type guy, but thank God to have a strong, supportive woman on my side who says it's all gonna be okay. Don't even stress about it. And I was like, that's easy for you to say, and she's like, it's not. Just don't do it. And I was like, damn it, why do you have to be right?
I love it.
It's a good gentle reminder, and then to reinforce that with these conversations, and a couple of brown dogs fighting in the background.
3 whole brown dogs now.
Yep.
Goodness gracious.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Never know what you're gonna get.
Well, today we got about 100 feet of toilet paper strung across the house.
Nice.
I'll have to send you the video. I was on the phone and I opened the bedroom door and Easton lays down and there's just a long string of toilet paper across the entire house.
I wonder who the culprit was.
A little Maggie dog.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good little combo.
Mm-hmm. Always
Well,
is.
yes, it is, indeedy. Well, if you guys listen this far again, thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. Like, share, follow, share it if you like it that much, and we look forward to hearing, seeing you watch our next one. So, thank you, thank you.
Leave a comment, give us your feedback. Maybe we're full of it. Who knows?
Well, I don't know if you go and read through our comments. It's funny. The one guy commented on 2 videos. I replied to him today. Why don't you guys do retakes sometimes? It's like, well, we just post it, and let it fly. And then
Because retakes are not honest. I like to set the rule straight there.
And then another video was where I was talking about my peanut butter and jelly. He's like, why even post this? What value does this have? It's like, we're just sharing everything. Hey, I like feedback, good, bad, in between, indifferent, whatever. Feedback is good. So thank you. If you're watching this, I'd love to hear more of your feedback. Thank you.
Keep the comments going. They're engaging.
They're funny. It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.